you know it's time. IAfootball is back, and we've got you covered with everything from the biggest hits to the biggest runs, from in-game highlights to post-game breakdowns.
We are here talking any and all high school football.
From day one all the way to the dome, we've got you covered at IAfootball.
It's pretty crazy thinking that week 5 of the Iowa high school football season is already upon us, the midway point. Once we get past week 5, we are over halfway through the regular season, and even the smaller classes are approaching postseason play. But it's a fun time. It's a great time here at IAfootball. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support this year. We've got rankings coming your way. Let's pull up this week's announcements. I do apologize for the late rankings post, and the teams of the week are not up yet. I usually use my Sundays to get all that stuff done, but I was busy this weekend up in Minneapolis watching little brother play for the Hawks, so everything's pushed back a little bit. Do not worry, though. As soon as I get done recording this, we are going to be working on Rockfin teams of the week. Those should be up tonight, as in Monday. So be looking for those. I know you guys subscribe for those. It's a great addition. We're still doing it. It's not going anywhere. We also got more stuff coming on Rockfin. We started district predictions. You saw 8-man Class A. I believe I've got 1A and 2A to post, and then 3A, 4A, 5A. All those district predictions should be out here this week, early next week, whatever it may be. Dane is working hard on those. We got Locks and Dogs coming this week, plus a third show. If we blow the likes up on Locks and Dogs, I will gladly do a third show. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. As always, advertisement spot's still open. If anything intrigues you as far as the advertisement spot, reach out to me. Always happy. As always, drop us a like and subscribe. Turn those post notifications on. I say that every single time, and I will continue to say it. That is a big deal, and it's 100% totally free. You'll be able to get content before anybody else. Now, speaking of Rockfin stuff, Dome Predictions. It's a Rockfin exclusive video. So if you like these videos, we made one. I've got each ranker's predictions, I've got my predictions, and I've got Dana Becker's predictions. So 3 different people's thoughts on who they think is going to make the Dome. We posted that as of last week. So it's going to be fun to see how it changes from week to week. We'll probably do another update towards the end of the regular season. But yeah, if you're interested in Dome predictions and who we have making it in each class, we got our 4 Dome teams, our champion, and a couple sleepers in each class. So a lot of teams talked about. 3 different people's opinions, all who follow Iowa high school football pretty in depth. So some good thoughts, some good opinions there. A ton of fun. You can subscribe to Rockfin and get that video. And then district predictions are also a Rockfin exclusive. Subscribing will give you access to those. Positional rankings will be coming out. We're working on a ton of stuff. So it's a great time to go over there and subscribe. Definitely getting your money's worth. And it's the number one way to support us and what we do here at IAfootball. But that's enough of the announcements. Let's get into week 5's rankings. Another week, another new number 1 in Class 5A, and it is back to the Valley Tigers. I don't have the history of the rankings here, but I know Valley was just previously number 1, I do believe. They come off a big one over Hawkeyes. Hawkeyes does not fall. They sit there at number 2. Bettendorf gets a bump up. They get the big top 5 win over Linmar. They are your number 3 team in Class 5A. Ankeny Centennial loses to Southeast Polk. They still sit inside the top 5. It's just, no matter which way you look at Class 5A, it is an absolute mess. And there's ways you could argue, 100% ways you could argue where it does not make sense. But that's the thing. It just does not make sense. Everybody is beating everybody. If you saw the graphic we posted Saturday morning, there's just a big circle of teams that have literally beaten everybody. So no matter what way our ranker puts this, there's going to be a way that it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll get comments. I'm sure we'll get thoughts. But as of right now, Class 5A, these middle teams, it's just a total mess. So he's doing our best to figure it out. It's not an easy job, and I definitely have sympathy for him because this is tough. But moving on, Linmar stays in your top 5. They, after the loss to Bettendorf. Dowling Catholic sits at number 6 after a win over Hawkeyes Northwest. Southeast Polk, they jump up 3 spots after beating Centennial. Pleasant Valley gets a bump as well after beating Prairie. And Iowa City Liberty, big jump after beating Cedar Falls. And then just by them are some of the teams that lost. Cedar Falls, Prairie sit there. Johnston, they get a big win over Ankeny. But Ankeny, they fall right below Johnston. Waukee Northwest falls to 14 after losing to Dowling Catholic. Kennedy gets their first win on the year. They beat CR Wash. They jump up to number 15. And City High welcomes into the rankings after beating Iowa City West in an instant classic for the battle for the boot. Good Thursday night game. Kennedy and City High, I believe, square off at Kingston. I think I'm going to head over to Cedar Rapids and catch that one. So we got a ranked matchup on a Thursday night. Always fun. Planning on going down there and filming those two squads. Haven't gotten to see those guys yet. As far as Friday, I have no clue where I'm going. If you got a game that you think is going to be pretty good, reach out to me. Happy to hear. I have no clue where I'm going Friday night. Class 4A. Nothing changed on the top two. Western Dubuque, they get that big win over North Scott. They are your number 2 team. Pella, a big jumper this week. They beat Xavier 21-19. They jump up 6 spots. They're your number 3 team in Class 4A. This team has come out of nowhere. A perfect 4-0 for the Dutch. This team looks very scary. North Scott, they dropped 2 spots after losing to Western Dubuque. Xavier was the one that lost to Pella. They still sit in your top 5. North Polk gets a win over a good Humboldt team in Class 3A. They're going to sit there at number 6. Indianola beats Carlisle. They jump up 2 spots to number 7. Gilbert, even with the win over Boone, they drop 3 spots. A really crowded top 10 in Class 4A. ADM also gets a win over Norwalk. They drop 2 spots, though, just because of how teams looked ahead of them. And Decorah, they get a nice win over a elite team in Class 3A and Independence. They sit there at number 10. Newton beats Marshalltown. They sit there at number 11. Waverly Shellrock beats Clear Lake. I don't know. I know I told Nick Fox, but I think I said it on our show. I thought Waverly Shellrock really had a threat to give Clear Lake a scare, and they didn't just give him a scare; they beat him. So really nice win for the GoHawks. They're 2-2, but all 4 teams that they've played have been incredibly difficult. So that's a really good 2-2 Waverly Shellrock team. Norwalk at 1-3, they lost to ADM by 1 point. Fort Dodge is a sneaky 3-1. They beat Waterloo East. They jump up a spot. And then your 2 new teams this week, Winterset and Spencer. Winterset beat Atlantic, and Spencer, they beat Sioux Center. So there is your top 16 in Class 4A. We will head over to 3A. Where not as much movement happened in 3A this week. I was at Solon Mount Vernon. Those highlights will probably be up late tonight, maybe early tomorrow. So Solon Mount Vernon fans, all Iowa high school fans, be sure to check that out. Again, if you have notifications turned on for YouTube, you're going to see it right away when it goes up. Really good game, really physical game, and not going to be surprised if that's a matchup you see down the road, whether it's in the postseason, in the Dome, whatever it may be. 2 really good teams there. Again, Solon picked up the win 7-6. They stay at number 1. Williamsburg beat Fort Madison, and Algona beat Boyd and Hole Rock Valley. They stay the same. Wahlert gets a big jump for our 3A rankers' thoughts. They jump up 4 spots after beating Assumption, really because Indy and Mount Vernon both lost, kind of gave some room. Both those teams sit at 5-6, which they were last week. It just kind of opened up Wahlert Catholic to jump up. Clear Lake also lost to Waverly Shellrock, a 4A team, so they dropped down 3 spots at number 7. Heelan beat Sioux City West. They get a little promotion up a spot. Humboldt lost to 4A's North Polk. They dropped just 2 spots. SBL, with what might be the win of the week in Class 3A, just put a thropping over Harlan. They get a massive win. They jump up 6 spots into your top 10. Well-deserved win there. Grinnell beat Washington. They jump up 3 spots. A nice little promotion for them. Nevada and MOC Floyd Valley both get wins over Hampton, Dumont, Cal, and Lamar's respectfully. They will hang on in the same spot they were last week. West Delaware beats Webster City. They jump up a spot. Atlantic, they're the team that lost to Winterset. So they drop down 5 spots. And then Harlan, obviously losing to SBL, they drop down 5 spots as well. So there's your Class 3A top 16. No new teams quite yet in Class 3A this week. Moving on to Class 2A. Again, some movement, nothing crazy. Your top 5 remains unchanged. Kemper holding on in overtime against Roland Story was kind of the game of the week if I had to go off the top of my head in this class. Western Christian, obviously, that could be a game of the week too, gets a win over Cherokee Wash. That was a 6-7 matchup, so Western Christian takes Cherokee Washington spot. Central Lyon Georgia Little Rock jumps up to number 7, and then Cherokee Washington, after the loss to Western Christian, slots behind at number 8. Des Moines Christian and Roland Story sit there at 9-10. Central Lee jumps up 3 spots. They jump to number 11. The Midgets stick at number 12. And then Davis County, Meepo, Sheraton, and Clarinda. No new teams in Class 2A. This is how you guys will shape up heading into Week 5. Moving on to Class 1A. as we get moving on. I get my graphics situated here. Grundy Center, actually the top 5, 1 through 5 remain unchanged. All 5 of those teams win in dominant fashion, all put up 40-plus points, and Regina was the only one to allow double digits. These were all really blowouts, and even Regina won 49-14, so they allowed double digits, but it wasn't by much. OABCIG jumps back up after a win over MVAO COU in the Alphabet game. Bryson Kolar, 5 touchdowns, 2 of them to Jax DeJean. Hudson jumps up 2 spots after a beating over Columbus Catholic. AHSTW gets a huge win over Underwood. They kind of switch spots. AHSTW takes over at number 8. Wilton gets a big win over Beckman Catholic. They jump up a couple spots as well. South Hardin with a really big win over Alburnett. Peyton Welch looks really good for South Hardin. They jump up into the top 10. There's Underwood, who lost to AHSTW at number 11. Hinton also takes a loss to Ridgeview, but our ranker made sure to say Friday's effort was sluggish. But until it happens again, the offense has been rolling all season. Hinton does have some really big wins this year, so tough to gauge that one. Ridgeview does jump into the rankings at number 16, but not according to our ranker. They're going to stay at 12 and 16 respectfully. Sigourney, Keota, Pleasantville, and Woodward Grange are all new into the rankings, as well as Ridgeview. I got to say that. So 4 new teams in Class 1A this week. Sigourney, Keota look good over Cardinal. Pleasantville gets a win over Pella Christian, and Woodward Granger gets a win over Nottoway Valley. And then Ridgeview obviously beats Hinton. So there's your 4 new teams in Class 1A. We'll move on to Class A, as that's how your top 16 will match up in this class. Class A, the shocker of the week, Woodbury Central falls to Galen Catholic. So that was the massive upset of the week. Other than that, the top 11 all won in pretty big fashion. Nothing really too close. Madrid and Linville Sully looked like a pretty good game. That was 21-0 Madrid. ACGC also kind of got a little bit of a scare to South Central Calhoun, 28-14. That's a close score, but ACGC kind of just plays in a way where the score is going to be pretty low and the clock's going to be running, so kind of hard to gauge that. But yeah, Woodbury Central falls, so Galen Catholic jumps all the way up to number 7. Woodbury Central going to slot right behind them according to our Class A ranker. Always tough when that happens. You never know where to exactly put those 2 teams. But that's how it lines up. Other than that, everything above them, there are some teams get some promotions. West Hancock through Earlham all get to jump up a spot because of Woodbury Central's loss. I believe Earlham and Madrid play this week. I don't have it up right now, but if so, that's a massive Class A matchup this week. Right below Woodbury Central, some teams got to take some demotions because of Galen Catholic. Pekin, Northland, St. Ansgar, and Starma all drop 1 spot only because Galen Catholic jumped them. So really not a demotion, more like it's just business at this point and how that's moving in Class A. Nashua Plainfield jumps up 3 spots, and your 2 new teams, Newman Catholic and Riverside. Newman Catholic got a huge 44-42 win over South Wynn, and Riverside, they've just been impressive in Class A all year. They got some nice wins, and their only loss, I believe, is to AHSTW, who's a Class 2A team, so no bad loss there. Linville Sully also hanging on to your top 15. They're 2-2, but both losses have been to good teams in Madrid, and then Pleasantville, who's a class ahead. So Linville Sully will stick in the rankings there at number 15. We'll move on to 8-man. We're an 8-man as usual. Nothing crazy this week. No movement inside the top 11. 8-man just it's really tough because these top tier teams just beat up on people. So no movement inside the top 11. The big one though was Don Bosco with an absolute beating over Key High. I thought that one was going to be a lot closer. Don Bosco obviously solidifying themselves as a elite team in Class 8-man. Key High, they did not get a demotion. Obviously, don't want to punish them too much, losing to the number 4 team by 37 though. It's tough, but Woodbine and Southeast Warren will get jumps over them, over Key High, who does drop a few spots. No, they're at number 14. Woodbine and Southeast Warren does jump up a few spots though. Woodbine gets Arweva this week. Southeast Warren just looked good over Moravia, so they jump up. GTRA gets a jump up too there at number 16 last week. They get St. Ed's this week in what should be a good game. And your one new team this week is Belle Plaine, who beat BGM. That's why all these teams were kind of able to slot up, was BGM losing. The Plainsmen undefeated. They get a big one over BGM. That was 52-27 too. So Belle Plaine and the Plainsmen get to kind of slot into the top 16 in Class 8, man. But yeah, that's all I got. There's your 7 classes. Make sure to tune in for Locks and Dogs on Wednesday. If you're wanting another show, if you're wanting just as many shows as possible, drop a like, drop a comment, let me know. Always happy to do it. Just want to be, kind of curating content for you guys. Head over to Rockfin, check out the free stuff too that we got coming this week. Always good. But yeah, another fun week across the Iowa high school football scene. Should be fun. Make sure to follow our socials. We'll have you covered for everything. We'll catch you next time.